Ananda, most religions today have a concept of beings whom we don't see in one form or another. Certainly, Christianity has its angels and demons. What does Buddhism have?
The same kind of idea we have, because we have deities or divine beings, divine damsels as well, who are in 6 different kinds of heavens. Buddhism accepted that kind of cosmology from the prevailing Hindu beliefs at the time, because Buddha, while he believed in the concept that the heavens existed, he did not think that one had to be a Buddhist to go to heaven. When one of his the descriptions of the duties of a religious teacher, irrespective of what he teaches, he says, showing the way to heaven is a duty of a religious teacher. So that heavenly the beings exist was an idea to which he subscribed. The average Buddhist believes in a wide variety of invisible beings, good as well as bad. In most Buddhist countries, if I take my own country, Sri Lanka, into consideration, we have almost a parallel religion called devil dancing. That is, diseases are connected with certain devils or demons. 18 of them are recognized and masks are cut to represent. Each has its own iconography and the mask. And when a person is ill, they would have a dance in which this witch doctor dons a particular mask and will dance before. And at the end of the night's dancing, they would have identified which demon had, and then they have a ceremony to drive that demon away, and the patients get well. How it happens, maybe a lot of other explanations. But the belief exists. In very, very strongly Buddhist homes, they still have this parallel. The reason being that people had, whether these ideas come from the some kind of the experiences, because we have the inexplicable experiences parallel with Buddhism, although Buddhism does not contribute to it. With regard to Hindu gods, with the worship of Hindu gods, people do things that are unbelievable, like hurting themselves and putting the spikes across their face and through their tongues and dancing for hours and kind of things. Saying this is done with the power of a invisible being. So on the whole, the people will say, we don't know, we accept. My father had an explanation. And in fact, when I was about 10 or 12, I asked this question very much the way that you asked, Robert, from my father. You have never seen. He pointed out to the birds that come to our garden and say, look at those birds. They come in the morning. They are very nice. They say, so we keep them something to eat. We keep them water. Sometimes a passing cat or a dog comes and dirties our land, and we throw a stone at them. They don't know we own this. We don't know who owns. So he said, except that there may be other beings invisible to us who may have control over this, behave in that way as we are observed. That to a 10 or 12-year-old boy was a good way of showing that the belief in these beings may have an ethical base.
Interesting. Now, what are these different levels, and what are the characteristics of the beings at each of those levels?
Yes. Those in hells, there's supposed to be 8 different hells, each for various kinds of punishment, various punishments given for various kinds of offenses. Very graphic and very often painted in the temple walls. For example, the hell to which the people who commit adultery go, they have to keep on climbing a tree with thorns all the time. From morning to the night, they stand the thorns supposed to prick their bodies, and that is the punishment that they get. So they get down in the morning, in the evening, and climb again with the same thorns.
With thorns all over the trees.
So this is the kind of concepts that have been put into pictures, that been some kind of visualization created. Then there's a belief that there are people who died with greed, with attachment to places, and they are born as hungry ghosts. They are always hungry, they don't get enough to eat, they disturb people, they appear as ghosts and they create trouble. There's kind of situations that even Western poltergeist and that kind of experiences are connected with the hungry ghost. Then they are supposed to be demons, again malevolent, not always helpful to the people, creating problems. So they have been in the temple frescoes, because murals, Buddhism used art from very early days to convey both his history and the life of the Buddha, as well as the ethical message. And most of these beings are pictured in the minds of an artist.
So if we have those representations of the beings in hell, what about the levels of heaven? What are they like?
Same kind of thing. So you have people with floating about with, not the same concept of the cloud, but they are, you must have seen the Apsaras of Dung Huan in China. That is the concept of heavenly beings. Some of them are very funny. For example, if you are born in heaven, you are born always as a man or woman, you are born as a man to have all the enjoyment of heaven. But the popular Buddhist books will say, and then you'll be served by 16,000 damsels.
16,000?
Damsels, So that kind of picturization or imaginary descriptions have gone in. We do not take these aspects very seriously as forming, at least also, just as today nobody is having those old controversies as how many angels could be stand on the head of a pin. We don't talk very much about this, but sometimes in our culture, a certain amount of veneration or respect is reserved for the invisible. In Thailand, no house is built without first building a little temple outside, which is a tiny little house on a post, and they would have light. And here, if you go to Las Vegas, you'll see right in front of the Caesar Palace is one of those. That is a deity, Thai deity is been propitiated as the person from whom that property has been obtained to build the Las Vegas Caesar Palace. So this is more popular folk element in our religion.
But historically in Buddhism, there really is a belief that there are other beings.
Oh yes, Buddha talks about them. Buddha is supposed to have met them. And sometimes in Buddhist literature, when they don't know and where the Buddha said a certain particular thing, we have some the statements of the Buddha, they are unable to trace to whom or under what circumstances. And the story is very simple. He was met by a god who came in the night, illuminated the whole monastery, and he stood in front of the Buddha and asked this question, and this is the answer he gave. So that belief is there without, again, it's very interesting that in all these the cases of, they have no function with our lives. So they are not, we don't pray to them, or we do not, we regard them as, that's another interesting aspect. There's an entire section in which the lives of that kind of beings who have been rewarded, as well as those who are born as hungry ghosts, the various incidents that led to both those rewards and punishments are 2 books in the canon. Large number of stories. I included in the canon for an ethical purpose. To train the people, if you do like this, you're going to be born in heaven.